What's good, everybody? It is your boy Alex, the Financial Guru, and we got a special guest in the house today. But before we get into that, I got to give a special shout out to my brothers, because you know, if you see me, my brothers can't be too far. First off on the list, let's go to my brother Steve. Steve, what's good?
Alex, what's going on, man? I'm feeling good on this Saturday morning. We coming live to BroTalkTV.com. What's up, everybody?
Chilling. Hey, Steve, I can't front. That background is dope, bro.
All right, man. I see you, man. Listen, coming up.
It looked like some kind of like Milky Galaxy, sort of like another dimension, almost like it's like something in Fortnite.
Purple rain going on.
Steve on it, boy.
Yeah. Inspiration from my kids, because all they do is play Fortnite.
Next on the list, we got my brother Jay. What's good, Jay?
What's good, man? I'm happy, healthy. Good to see y'all. Happy to see y'all. We got a special guest. I'm excited. Ready to go.
That's what's up. I hope you turn off that trash music that you was playing earlier.
Shout out Kevin Gates, man.
See, I try to keep it where nobody knew exactly what you was, but you had to give him a shout out. So good. Last but definitely not least, my brother Ray.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Talk TV. We in here. Let's get it.
That's what's up, man. And introducing, first time on Bro Talk TV, one of my personal bros, all the way from 9th grade. Got to give a special shout out to my boy, Teddy Pernal.
Good morning. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, my brother. Teddy, man, how you feeling?
I feel good. It's another sunny/rainy day in Florida, so you couldn't ask for a better way to start the weekend.
That's what's up, man. So first, we want to say thank you so much for coming on the show and kicking it with us. Now, what a lot of people might not know, Teddy and I, we actually went to school together in 9th grade, and we really had a blast, man. We had a lot of fun. We used to go around school just, we was young kids, immature, just doing a bunch of foolishness. Yeah. So, I remember my second day of school. My first day of school, I got caught in the girls' bathroom. Locker room.
Come on,
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Seriously, Alex?
Yeah.
First day?
First day, bro.
Can't even wait.
And then the second day of school, I got caught fighting. So
yeah, we had a lot of fights in that year.
Yeah. So first day, caught in the girls' bathroom. Second day, caught fighting.
Probably let you back, bro.
Yo, actually they didn't. That's the only school in my life that I got kicked out of.
Oh my God, man.
You know, they
I was
kicked you
just
out.
saying,
I
it looked
thought you
like
just
the
left.
principal got a chair with your name on it.
Yeah.
Alex's
Literally
chair.
10th grade. After 9th grade, they wrote a letter saying you are not welcome back for 10 years.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
So from there on, that's how I became a Cobra. Boyd Anderson Cobra from there on. So I was a tornado initially. So yeah, man. Pompano Beach is wild. Pompano is pretty wild.
It really is. That was good. Yeah, I showed up that year. I just moved from New York, and so I think it was probably like the 10th day of the actual school year when I finally got in. Yeah, because the way I moved from New York was, I guess that's part of the story is my brother and I were, we were coming down from New York, just the two of us, to find our dad, and we found him, and that's who we moved in with. So we were in the foster care system in New York, and we just kind of, you could call it hitchhiking. We got dropped off here, we got dropped off there. The dad came up and drove. I think he came into Atlanta to pick us up. That was like the extent of where we could get on our own. And this is obviously before cell phones, so we were like, begging people for change at truck stops.
For payphone. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, Teddy. I got to make sure I understand this correctly. You in New York, you and your brother.
Yeah.
Like they do in the movies. You telling me y'all both on the side of the road, like?
It wasn't like the movies. Not even close. There was a couple moments that you could say were like that, but no. So we had it was a clan thing, right? So,
Yeah.
we grew up in New York, orphanages, foster homes, whatever, any group home. Essentially, we were taken away from our parent or our mom and stepdad at the time. Real abusive household, drugs, you name it. And New York, they don't play. Cops come, bye. So years go by, we're in and out of all these different homes. If you get into one fist fight, cops come and they take you and your brothers and sisters and take you to another one. Now I was the oldest of 6 kids, so we all couldn't stay together either, which made it really interesting trying to stay in touch with each other. Kind of rips the family apart even further. So my brother and I were 10 months apart, and we always were in the same home. And so anyways, our aunt and uncle got certified, I think, to be a foster parent or something. I don't know. We ended up living with them. And I'm pretty sure it was a foster parent situation. They just got the approval from the state or whoever. Well, they found our father, who, my life, I grew up, I was like, I never even met him. Never knew who the guy was. Which was a typical story amongst, I guess, teenagers growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s, right? I felt like everybody had the same story. Then they hooked us up. Our dad came up from Florida. We did like a bowling day or something. I don't know, just kind of hanging out, which was weird. It was way too normal for something that I thought would be like a climax in my life story. Like, damn, I'm meeting this guy. So we ended up kind of planning a runaway, I guess you could say. So our father wanted to take us, but I guess our family said no, or the state said no. And he's like, why? And they're like, well, you don't have parental rights anymore because you've been gone for so long, yada, yada, yada. And the state's like, you can't have him back until you pay some child support money. And it's been, 13 years for 2 kids. Like, what's up? So that's a heavy check to write for anybody. So we didn't know any better about this kind of stuff. All we knew is, yeah, this is what we want. Why would we stay here with you when we could go with our father? And our mother at the time, she was gone, still alive. She was gone. I'm not sure doing what, so I won't implicate her on anything worse, but I'm sure she wasn't making her life better at the time. So then we planned like a little runaway. Our uncle would take us to Madison Square Garden. We lived in Long Island, so it was like maybe a 1-hour drive where we lived. Take us to Madison Square Garden. Or no, we took the train. I think we took the train to Madison Square Garden, and then our uncle would meet us there. I think we were going to go to some WWF wrestling event or something like that. So we got approval to go take the train to do that. Then our uncle met us there. We got in his car and drove right away, left New York right away. Like, no bags, nothing, it's gone. So that was it. I kind of remember the feeling now. Like, even though I wasn't driving, it was just like, you get that gut feeling like, hey, fight or flight response is kicking in. We're doing this. And so it was great. The drive from New York to Florida sucks, right? It's if you do it straight, it's about 24 hours. So we tried to do it straight. I think we made it to South Carolina. I want to say, I'm trying to remember. This was 1999. Alex, that was our freshman year, right? 99?
Yeah, I think 99 was our freshman year.
So this is like late August, 1999. Crazy. So I'm trying to remember. I think we made it to South Carolina, and then we had to I think that's as far as our uncle could get us. And he had to drive back to New York because he had to go to work and this and the other. So I think we took like a coach bus, or I know we didn't city bus hop because I've done enough of that. These were longer bus rides. But I think we went from one truck stop to another, made it to part of Georgia, and then we finally got down to Atlanta. And so from South Carolina to Atlanta, if I remember correctly, that's kind of where that would be the closest I remember of anything like a true hitchhiker story from the movie. But we're not kids standing on the side of the road sticking our thumbs.
Yo, that is crazy for a 13 and a 12-year-old.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You could literally hop.
No bags.
I just drove from Florida to New York about 2 months ago. And, you pass about 7 to 8 states. So for the fact that you was able to do that, like dolo, like y'all two was able to just do it at 13 in the 90s.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't, my oldest daughter's 11. I wouldn't imagine her in 2 years having to go through that. I couldn't even see it as a reality.
Dang.
Listen, my son's 13. He can't get from the mall home without getting lost. Like, I'm
He's not order pizza.
the whole state. You kidding?
For real.
Wow.
So
God.
Teddy, fast forward for us. So you get here to Florida. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
Is your dad's down here? Is he in Pompano?
Yeah. So I'm in Pompano. I literally lived across the street from the high school, which is why we picked this high school, because I would just walk. When I hear the morning bell, I would just walk. And I didn't know that this school was supposed to be some brand new, state of the art, you got to get good grades to stay here school. So I did not know that I was going from being what was a badass little kid in New York, and I was a tough guy in the foster homes and fighting to survive and the things we were doing, to, okay, now you got to become a nerd to stay here. So that was we went to Pompano, and then I met Alex. I think Mr. Gillis's class was the first class we had together, math.
Yep,
right
math.
Away. Yeah, math. And then we had that science class with that teacher with the weird hands.
Oh God! All right.
Forgot his name. He didn't like me.
So how did you and Alex first meet?
What's that?
So how did you and Alex first interact?
It was in class. We showed up, and so I grew up in New York, all over these foster homes. And, in New York, there was only like maybe 2 or 3 types of people that I remember, and the cultural groups, you could really categorize them by like what music they listened to. So you either listened to like rock and roll, and you wore jeans with like 14-inch wide things around your shoes, and you had a chain wallet, and you went skateboarding. And I wasn't part of that group. And then you had like the pop kids and the preppy kids, and I wasn't part of that group. So then you had all the other, riffraff guys listening to rap music, wanting to get fights outside. So that was my group, and not to throw Alex under the bus, but that was his group.
I wasn't there. I had to be here.
But that's just who I was. It's who I am today. So, there was culture shock. I'll tell you that. I remember, you're in New York and it's dirty. The city's dirty. Long Island, you live by the train tracks. Everything's dirty. It's made out of bricks, and it's just old school. And if I go back now, I look at it, I go, that's beautiful. But I moved to Florida, and I was like, holy cow, this is like paradise. It looked like a music video. Now it all fades into the background. You don't appreciate it when you've been here that long. And then the way people talked also freaked me out. I was like in New York, everyone talked like DMX. And now everyone's saying, hey, cousin. I'm like, we're not related. I don't. And so, it was some culture shock, but it was fun. It was fun. I mean, Alex and I, we became good friends. I forgot the name of everyone in our group. Me, I know Alex, Peter, Tedrick. Tedrick and I. Yeah, Ted and I we were tight, right? We were the 2 Teds. Yeah. TNT. And we always had the same classes. So we were, Rodford. Yeah.
And Naya,
yeah. Oh yeah. What happened to Naya?
Yeah. Naya's doing good. He's trucking and things like that.
Okay. So I saw him on Facebook maybe 10 years ago, and then I couldn't see him anymore.
Yeah, he cut off all social media.
Good for him.
So you fast forward, so you got to Pompano, you found Alex in the Riff Rap group, Crate, and Alex got kicked out. So that makes sense. All right. How do you survive coming from New York, rough, to this, I need to study and do good to survive across the street where the school is?
So I guess there was 2 plays to this, two facets to how I made it. One, as a teenager in New York, it was weird. I'd already been arrested once in New York for getting in a fight. And I 9th grade, I got in a lot of fights. I think the biggest fight I got into was the same fight twice in the same day. It was me and Sam. You remember Sam, Alex?
I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, we were talking trash in the basketball court. And the thing is, the point I'm making is I treated it kind of like going to jail. Like, if I don't assert my dominance or make myself a known figure, I'm going to get bullied, and that ain't who I am. And I'm not a bully myself. At least I try not to be. I had some bully moments in high school, but so I got in a bunch of fights. So people knew, hey, Teddy is a fighter. He's with this group, whatever. That's how people looked at me. I knew I wanted to play sports. I never played football a day in my life, but it became natural to me because I was tough. So started playing football. I was great at that. And then the other part of it, I'm actually kind of blessed to this day. I have a unique ability to memorize things the first time I read it or hear it. Pretty darn good. I wouldn't say 100%, but it allowed me to take tests, and I tested really well at every test I've ever taken in high school. I mean, I wanted to make a point. I think it was 10th grade year. I skipped science class. I think it was earth science. I skipped almost every day of the class. I think I had like four days I was in the class. 2 of those days, one was the midterm and one was finals. I ended up getting a D in the class because I failed everything except the tests. Took the tests, and I was good to go. I showed up to the final and they swapped teachers out, and they're like, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm in your class."
Yeah, like, I'm actually enrolled in your class. I just don't show up.
Yeah, exactly. And Alex knows. I mean, we used to, everyone. If you could get out and go to gym or go to the bleachers, you know, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
So then, Teddy, with this path, which, you know, it's definitely some obstacles, how do you find yourself getting back on track? Right.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So things went from good to bad to worse pretty quickly for me in high school. So 10th grade, I started becoming more and more notorious, more and more, I don't know, promiscuous with behavior and you know, you name it. And then everyone starts, you know, oh, well, let's go smoke some weed here and let's do this. And then, you know what, I can make money by selling some weed to these people. And I live right here. And I, you know, so in Pompano at the time, we had people coming from as far as, you know, Lauderhill, Lauderdale Lakes, Hollywood, all the way far as west as Plantation. We had some, and then as far north as Boca. And this school was on like a heavy recruiting path to bring in as many students as they can. They wanted to become a melting pot of the entire county, if you will. Yeah. And I mean, you say it like that, it's like, wow, that's a good business model. So you don't have kids that are regionally, culturally aligned to just neighborhoods. And that's how that school is branded. Like, this school is truly going to be a melting pot of people from different communities. And it worked, and it was great. So what I did is started taking the city bus to go hang out with my friends. You know, Rockford and I were always going to Sawgrass Mall, you know, and most of my friends, I think everyone lived in Lakes or Lauderhill at the time. A few friends that lived in Pompano and Coconut Creek, and that was really it. So naturally for me, it was, if I wasn't going to play ball at the park, Pompano Park, I was trying to, you know, make it out of Pompano and take an 1.5-hour bus ride to go hang out with friends. So my behavior got worse, and then what ends up happening is my old man and I think I went to Sawgrass Mall one night, whatever. I came home late because I didn't care about curfews or whatever. I remember walking up, and I think he was sitting on the front porch and just having a cocktail at the end of the night, and we got into an argument right there. And then I think he punched me in the face, and I was like, yeah. I knew I couldn't like fight my father, but I was like, this isn't for me. I turned around and walked away, walked straight back to the bus stop, called Sam. We called him Jason, but called Sam. And
wait, not the same Sam you fought.
Yeah, right. I was going to say the same thing.
Oh, yeah, so this is the same.
So you
Sam
beat him
I
up
fought.
twice.
I got to give him credit. He was the one fight I got into where I couldn't say I beat him up. I wouldn't say he beat me up either, because we got into a fist fight in the locker room, and I remember it was weird. Because I came back. I got to tell this story. So we were playing basketball, and he was not good at ball, and he was a little heavy set at the time.
Yeah, I remember him being heavy.
Yep. But he was a tough kid, real tough kid. And I talking trash, and I went to the locker room and I went to go change my shoes, and I saw him in there, and he was like, I don't want to sound insulting because it sounds funny now, but he was like, he had like my shoe, and he's like trying to rip my shoe in half. And I walked up, I'm like, what are you doing? And then it turned into a fight, and we started fist fighting, and it was lockers, and we're banging around. People broke us up, and I forget what the PE coach name was, Real
you're
tall,
talking about.
skinny. Yeah, real tall, skinny old white guy.
Yeah, old white guy.
Yeah, he came in and broke us up, and the bell rang, and so we just left and went to class. I didn't even think it was either the next period or 2 periods later. At Pompano, we only had 4 periods in the day because each class was an hour and 50 minutes for one class. And so I think it had to have been the next period. I think it was lunch break. We had lunch break, and I was sitting with Tedrick and I think who sat with us? So the guys above us, Thurman and someone else.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Sam. Sam always sat with us at lunch too. And this is early in the year, so I don't really have any best friends yet or anything like that. I'm not really in the clique. I'm still the new guy trying to fit in. And Sam did not come sit down with us at lunch because I made it there first. And we were the lunch crew that even if you had like free lunch pass, like we all did, we're like, it didn't matter. We were scrounging change and making money to go buy honey buns from the vending machine. And we didn't eat our free lunch. Like, I don't know why. It just became like, don't eat your free lunch. Don't do that. That's gay.
Yeah,
that food is trash.
Nobody wanted the free lunch.
Food was always trash.
Yeah, so sometimes we go get it.
My free lunch, y'all tripping.
Yeah. So sometimes we get it. I remember we get it just to get the chocolate milk because the chocolate milk was good. I remember.
Yeah, the milk was good.
So then we go to. I didn't realize we're in Spanish class together, Sam and I, and I think it was Spanish class. Yeah. And we walked in. I walked into class, and I guess he was waiting behind the door for me. And I just bam caught a freaking fist right to the face. And I fell back. I didn't fall down, but I kind of fell back out of the room. Then we're in the hallway. Now we're fighting, and he's trying to put me in a headlock, and I'm swinging for the fences. I know I caught some good licks. Neither one of us was backing down. It took like 3 teachers to pull us apart. And for me,
all of that for some basketball.
I know, right? All that. Well, I've gotten in worse fights with the adults in basketball. So
you're gonna bust his ass in basketball.
And the thing is, none of us that were playing in that pickup game, none of us were even playing on the school team.
Yeah, I was like, I was about to say, I don't remember Sam playing for the team.
No,
y'all played football.
Yeah. I was on football all years. I tried out for basketball. I made it, but I think I couldn't keep my grades up for Coach Hazel's requirements that year. I was a bad kid.
That's what happened to me my first year, man. I got cut because of the grades, and I was like, "Oh, hell with this."
Yeah, it's like this is like
real basketball.
Like everyone thought, like, oh, they say here's the grades you have to stay to maintain. I think for every sport you had to have a 3.0.
Yeah.
And if you drop below it, you didn't get a second chance. You were cut. That was it. And they were really trying to refresh the idea of a student athlete, which is great. You see the Coach Carter movie and any stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those stories are awesome. It just wasn't working out for Pompano at the time.
Definitely ain't working at Pompano. Absolutely not.
They weren't winning. They weren't winning games.
Right. So Teddy,
wait, I want to go back to. All right, so your dad came home to your dad.
No, you're talking about Sam and how he rescued you after your dad.
Yeah. So I take the bus. So Sam and I. The reason I went down that rabbit hole. Sam and I got suspended because the fight was so bad. The whole school was talking about it. We got suspended for 10 days out of school suspension, which apparently is like the maximum punishment you can get. So then the out of school suspension, because we were this academic magnet school. I think it was called magnet. I don't know what it stood for. If it was an acronym, just meant you had better grades. Your out of school suspension, you weren't allowed to fall behind on your academics. Otherwise, you risk your out of school suspension turning into getting kicked out of the school altogether. So Sam and I elected, they give you an option. There's an out of school suspension school. And it is horrible. It reminded me of the foster homes. Because you show up, you sit down at a desk. Everyone's desk are 6 feet away from each other. Like COVID style. Yeah. This school probably stayed open during COVID. If I went,
they had to adjust anything.
and there was no talking. You got one pencil, and if you wanted to sharpen your pencil, you had to wait until the opportunity, like the teacher came by to monitor or whatever. It was true, like you were being punished, and you had no talking. And if you spoke, they locked you in like a room that was the size of a closet for an hour because you decided to talk or giggle. It was bad.
It's like jail.
So it did feel like jail. That school felt like. So Sam and I, him and I both, our parents were, picking us up late and dropping us off early or late. So we'd always run into each other. And of course, like the first couple times, the first 2 or 3 days, we're like looking at each other like, fuck you, man. Sorry for cursing, but you look at each other like, we're like, whatever. Like we're still tough guy and sizing each other up. Then all of a sudden, like day 4 or 5, we started talking and we realized that our backgrounds and our upbringings were not too far from each other. And then we just, it was like, I hate to say it's that weird story, man. Adversity made us become best friends and we became best friends. So yeah. So when I decided I was going to run away or get kicked out, I don't think my father and I would agree as to what it was today if I was getting kicked out or I ran away. But either way, my life was my own and I wasn't going to let anybody, treat me that way. So city bus, call Sam. I had the old Metro PCS Nokia phone.
Damn, not the Metro.
The one with
they don't die for nothing, just for the record, man.
Yeah.
Them phones stay on 8 hours straight.
Yeah. So call Sam up. I went to he's like, come here, stay here. I slept there for 2 or 3 nights and I just was like, you know what? I'm not going home. I'm not going back. I said, I've been through too much in my life. I know what I need to do to start. And plus, every teenager, I'm like, I know what to do. I got this.
Yeah.
So I talked to Sam's dad and he's like, you can stay here, $200 a month. You can sleep on the couch and you can have free round of groceries, anything, whatever. We got you. So I started going to school, taking the city bus with Sam from school. I think we took the 72 to the 81, 72 across Oakland, 81 was south. I forgot what bus we took to go up Powerline.
Probably
10,
80, 83.
Yeah, maybe the numbers changed. I don't know. I bet they're still the same. I need to go on a little nostalgia ride through Broward County on the public transit system. But so I started picking my belongings out of my dad's house. I would just break into the house in the middle of the day. He started figuring out, so they started locking everything. But I had enough, and I was like, screw it. And then I was working for a sporting goods store in Pompano on the weekends. And we would go to sell hats and T-shirts at like the Miami Dolphin games, the Florida Bucks, or the Tampa Bay Buck games, and some other soccer games and other stuff. So it was really good. I make, as a kid, I was making $200 to $300 cash in a weekend. So what I needed, I only had 2 bills. I had a Metro PCS and a $200 rent thing. So I was doing good. So I made my way through the rest of high school with Sam on my own. I kind of always was keeping in touch with my dad, not like on a regular basis. It was kind of like, I don't know, like 2 loose strands trying to hold on to each other. It wasn't working out. I was too hard-headed, too tough, too stubborn. The way I grew up, what I knew to be right and wrong, things that were happening at home, I thought were wrong. So, my brother and I, even before that, we tried to run away once together. And I'll always tell him, like, you screwed this up for us. Because we tried to run away together and that didn't work. And the cops found us. And I was like, dude, you're slowing me down. He wanted to go see a girl on the way out. I'm like, we're going east. I said, never go east in Pompano. Everyone know that's the beach. There's going to be lights everywhere on the road.
Yeah.
Said we should have taken the bus to Powerline. He went Powerline to Lauderhill. But my brother, complete opposite. We're 10 months apart, but he was complete opposite. I think we were just antagonists of each other. He was hanging out with all the rocker kids and the punk kids. And, I love the guy. One year he was, a born-again Christian, convincing everyone to join his religion. Another year he was an atheist. And it's just, and we all had these emotional roller coasters we'd spike up and down on. So we just weren't the same, but we lived in the same house in the same room our whole life. So, it was kind of like, I'm the leader. You're my number 2. I'm going to look out for you no matter what. Mm-hmm. So that was how I finished school with Sam. And then, so to wrap that up, once I was finishing school up, every high school, the military recruiters start coming at you. And the one recruiter, the Marines, and here's the thing, I was so naive. And I think our whole group, nobody knew what the heck was going on about war and all that stuff. We just knew there was something going on. I didn't even know it was called a war at the time. I was so naive. I was like, what? War? I'm not going to war. Kiss my ass. But they were like, hey, so I started considering the Marines. Only reason is because the recruiter took me to the strip club. So I was like, okay.
That's a good. That's
a good recruit.
That's a good way to recruit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Go horny kid to a strip club and say, you can have this.
Exactly. I was sold. I was sold. I was sold. And so that was in Pompano, and or I think it was Margate, technically, where that recruiting station was. So I think we went to Booby Trap. Anyways, not important. What's important is once I started talking about the Marines, I didn't realize that I guess Sam's dad was so anti-government because he's worked for them once before that I showed back up because he heard about it. I showed up to the house and all my shit was thrown all over the grass in front of the apartment, the condo. And I guess like, you know, it was one of those things where like, you're going to try to bring the government into my house. And I'm like, no. Like they shouldn't be coming here and knocking on your door. I told them not to. Whatever, you know. And I think I was like at that point, because I was kind of like, yeah, fuck this. I was like 2 months behind on paying up rent too. So whatever. I was using my money for other activities. We'll say it that way. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm homeless now. So I put all my stuff in a black garbage bag, and I didn't have much. I remember I had an Xbox. I bought an Xbox, and I forgot what game I would play. Anyways, I had an Xbox, and then I had all these plaques and scholarship awards from football that I'm so stupid. This is how dumb I was. I had football scholarships. I didn't take any of them. I was like, I'm not going to college. I don't like school.
It's great.
I don't think I would have been good enough to make it to the NFL. Not that I even wanted to. But you know, now that I didn't understand the value of the dollar. Knowing it now, what education costs, I'm an idiot for doing that. But I love my life. I love where the journey is taking me, so I don't regret it. I had that and some clothes, and I had my notebooks that I'd write all my little rap songs and poetry, and that was my life. That's all I had. So it all fit in the bag. So I took this big old black garbage bag with me, and I went down to Oakland and University, southwest corner of the intersection. There's a Lowe's at the bus stop. I think the University bus, I think that was the 72. That bus bus stop had like a big old overhang, and it was like they're almost enclosed. So I was like, all right, drop my bag off here. I left it there. You know, nope. Some people go through your shit, but they're not going to find anything they want in my bag. And so that's kind of where things were. And I had a girlfriend, so I'd take the bus to go see her, try to sleep at her house. That never worked out because she was still in school and I wasn't. Because now at this point I've graduated high school. And then I was talking to Sam still, you know, we were still best friends, and he got some job at a call center. And I was like, fine, I need to get a job. I need to save up, get an apartment. I did the math. I'm like, if I could just make, you know, $400 a week, I can get my own place. And so I was working at this call center with Sam. I didn't work there that long, but it was weird. You know, I'd go sleep at different parks, different bus stops for a few months. And the recruiter didn't know where to find me. So it's not like I was chasing him around. I didn't really care either. I wasn't even like committed to going. It was just, I was talking to him and I was getting free lunches and shit out of it. So then my brother, he's about to graduate high school now. He's in his senior year, and he said,
not the Christian atheist brother.
Yes, him. Yeah. my brother, Joey, Big Joe, they called him. And I was like, he's like, hey, I want to join the Marines. I was like, oh, that's funny. I was going to do that once. And he goes, I'm going to go to MEPS and swear in on this day. I said, you know what? I'll go with you. Because he asked me, he's like, would you go with me? And at first I was like, no. But I was like, I'll go with you. It'll get you promoted. It'll get you more money. It'll make you project better into your life. I was like, you know, I was in my head. I was like, I'm from the streets. I'll never leave the streets. Out all night with people doing shit I shouldn't be. That's fine. I can do this until I either die or go to jail. And I was okay with that. Well, I sleep at my buddy's house. Because the recruiter's like, I need to pick you up somewhere at 4 a.m. so we can go down and you can take the ASVAB test and then swear in. So stay at my buddy's house. He picks me up. We drive down. You know, he stops and gets me Dunkin' Donuts on the way because the MEP station, I think, is all the way in Miami. So I get in, I take the test. And again, nobody knew this except me, but I was like, it's a test. I'm just going to do it and get out. I'm good at tests. I don't need to study. I didn't prep. I didn't even know what the ASVAB was about. I still don't even know what the acronym stands for. I took the test. I guess it's supposed to take you like 3 hours, and you're supposed to like finish module A and stop and wait for the proctor to go, everyone switch to module B. I think that's how it's supposed to go. I don't know, because I didn't follow the rules. I just kept clicking through, and if I didn't know the answer, I was an impulsive test taker. I'm like, don't know the answer. B, whatever.
Like
apparently,
I need to go see.
Yeah. So I walk out, they're like, Mr. Pernal, you're done? I said, yeah. They're like, we're not even halfway through. And I was like, I skipped ahead. They're like, oh, so they're all mad because I broke the rules. And in my mind, I'm like, whatever, it's a long test that you guys are making us go slow on purpose. So I was like, I'm not about this. So now I'm getting yelled at in the lobby of the MEPS station by the recruiter, by the test people. You had wasted our time. This costs taxpayer money. Chewing my ass. Straight out of a movie, the guy comes running around the corner, waving a freaking piece of paper. Hold on. Don't let him go. And they pull everyone over except me. I'm sitting down now and with my stupid tough guy pouty face on. And they come over and they literally like, how'd you do that? I'm like, do what? And they're like, you got like 2 questions wrong on the whole test. I was like, I don't know. The shit was easy. What do you want me to tell you? And I was like, and you guys are making us take too long at it. Maybe that's why people suck at this test, because you're making them drag it out.
Oh God.
And yeah, I was a punk kid and I thought I was funny. Yeah, I knew I was funny in my head. So they sat me down. They're like, you can have any job in the military you want. They're like, as a matter of fact, you should go like to the Navy or the Air Force and sign up for some of these nuclear programs because your scores are so high and not a lot of people can get into these programs. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that because you guys told me there's a war and the Navy doesn't carry guns and the Air Force guys don't carry guns. I said, I will only join if I get a gun because I'm not going to get killed by somebody. And that was it. I just wanted a gun. I wasn't going to do anything in the military. Just give me a gun. And I was going to go, I pictured myself, I was just going to work, do what they told me and hold on to my gun. So if anyone messed with me, I'd kill them. That's how I thought. So, the job specialty they picked out for me, whatever. And then, but the other part I'm really pissed about, this is one of the main reasons I Christmas treed the test or went through it so fast, was my brother didn't show. So I was like, oh, I just swore into the fucking military. And this
that is the biggest fucking
oh my God.
That's messed up.
And all I knew is, they threaten you. They're like, oh, you swore in, you signed, that's it. Yeah. If you go disappear now, you're going to jail. Yep. And I was like, what? I was so scared at that point because I had no clue. So the only thing they actually did for me, so I signed on for the 4-year active, 4-year inactive time contract. But now I'm terrified. And I was like, this is BS. My brother, I signed on to be, I was trying to like find a loophole. I was like, look, I signed the paper saying that I was his referral. But now he's not in. So this is a void. Like I try to say the contract's not real because I signed because of him and he's not here. And they weren't having it. Maybe they pulled the wool over my eyes and maybe I was right. But they convinced me, they're like, well, we have this other program where it's called the reserves and you don't have to go full time. You just show up once a month and see if you like it. And if you like it, you can go to full time. I was like, oh, so it's a part-time job. They're like, yeah. So I did that. So I went to the reserve program and I was assigned the unit in West Palm Beach, Florida. So I'd go to boot camp, South Carolina, the combat training in North Carolina. And then I went off to 29 Palms in California, which is in the middle of fucking desert, for my training on radio systems, military radios. And I got my Humvee license there. So then I get sent back home. And this was like this is the weirdest part. People don't believe this. And I'm like, I'm not making this shit up. I'm in the United States Marine Corps now. And I'm kind of a new man. I'm walking straight. I got to stick my chest out. I understand that being a little wannabe gangster thug is not cool anymore. Even though it's kind of always in my heart because that's how I was my whole life. I got in a lot of fights in training. I mean, we were throwing fucking lockers off the 3rd story staircase in boot camp, and people were like, "This is chaotic." And but I was good. I was in great shape. I'd been homeless for a few months at this point, 7 months, I think, and so I'm sleeping on a bed, and they yell at you if you don't make your bed fast enough. So I was like, "Fine, I'll just make my bed faster. You won't yell at me." And everything they did, if I was like, "Okay, fine. If I do it this way, you won't yell at me." So I just kept doing everything, so I didn't get yelled at. And then all of a sudden, they're like, "This guy gets it. You're in charge." So they're like, they made me a squad leader at boot camp. And I was like, I don't even want to be here. But I was like grateful. I was like, I'm sleeping in a bed every night. We get 4 hours, maybe 6 hours sleep. I'm also eating 3 freaking meals a day, 3 big ass meals a day. Yeah. And you just got to eat fast, which I didn't mind. Okay, eat fast.
That's perfect for you.
So I was like, this is easy. So easy. I was like, why is everyone struggling? You know, we had some people that were like me there that saw it as easy as well. Some people that didn't want to drop the tough guy bravado, so they struggled. But then we had like some, you know, white collar raised people, and they were struggling. They were crying. Yeah. You know, we had one guy kill himself, and I can never drive myself to understand why. It's just, you're getting yelled at, you're dirty, you're working out a lot. That's how I see it today. Yeah, it's miserable while you're in it, but as soon as you're out, everyone looks back and you're telling stories. When I was in boot camp, and everyone's laughing about it. So anyways, you know, different upbringings, people have a different chemical compound upstairs that tells them to do this. So but
Teddy,
also, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We literally have 2 minutes. I want you to just give a word of advice to the generation out here right now and to these viewers. If you can, just tell them, like, sum it up. Just be like, listen, man, this is what you want to do. This is the avenue. You know, I like the part where you said, where you dropped the tough guy act, where now it's as if you got a sense of life. You know, you started understanding, you got more aware of things around you. Yeah.
You know, what I would say, I really have, like you said, I have 2 pieces of advice to anybody is, you know, fuck everybody else. Like, if you know you can do the work, if you know you can do the work, if you know you can put your mind to something and execute it, fuck everybody else. And the rules, you know what? Like, only dreamers break the rules. You know, the shakers and movers of the world are the ones who break the fucking rules. That's true. You know, so fuck everybody else is step one. I'm not saying, oh, follow your dreams and do that. Like, okay, follow your dreams, but at a certain point, like, just do what is going to make you happy. Sometimes people think their dreams make them happy. It's not what they're like. Go out there and do that. And then, you know, number 2, the second piece of advice I would have is don't take any relationship for granted. I would be foolish. I would be foolish to say that I got here on my own. Foolish to say that. You know, and anybody can do it. I mean, you hear my story. I'm a scumbag who just made it up as I went my whole life. And now I've got a giant house and make 6 figures, and I've got a great family. And I've got 4 beautiful daughters, and I couldn't ask for a better life when I wake up in the morning. So I'm blessed. And I didn't make it up. I don't have a college degree. I went to the military for almost 2 decades, left them before I got a full pension, and I'm just here to work. I'm here to work, to do the work, and to give my kids a better life than what I experienced, to give them a better chance to be more successful than I was. But the truth is, nothing about my life is not successful, and I came from nowhere and made it here. So fuck everybody else, and don't take any relationship for granted, because people will help you get there. Listen, man, that was some awesome advice, and I just want to ask you this one last question before we close out, because we have literally about 30 seconds. Your dad, do you and him still communicate to this day? I'm going to his house for my niece's birthday party tomorrow. Awesome. Hey. Now, is this the niece of the atheist Christian? No. You didn't want to go to the Marines, brother? No. And listen, I love Joey, and I don't mean to speak ill of him. Like, it's just everybody has their phases, and I love Joey. Yes, I keep in touch with my dad. Do we have the greatest relationship? No, but I don't take any relationship for granted. Okay. And what about your brother Joe? How is he? Oh, yeah, we're great. He brings his kid over for Taco Tuesday to my place. Oh, awesome, man. That's what I love to hear. Tuesday. I remember you said that you did have earlier, you had 6 brothers and sisters. That number's gone up. That's gone up. So okay. Yeah. So this is how bad life was. I found out I'm not the oldest when I was like 32. So I have a sister who's older than me. And then my dad, who remarried, ended up having 1, 2, 3, 4 more kids. So I am the second oldest of 11. 11. Wow. Okay. All right. And how is that like? Do y'all communicate? Do you communicate with all of them? Or are you like the pillar? Off and on. No, it's all, well, I do communicate with a lot of people. It's off and on. I do have a facet in my brain. Hey, the phone works both ways. So people get mad at me for not calling them months and months at a time. But I'm like, you know what? I'm focused on building my family's empire. Yeah. And the phone works both ways. If you're mad at me for not calling, pick up the phone. It's only 10 keystrokes.
Yeah, 10 keystrokes. Well, man, listen, man, I appreciate, bro. It's always good reconnecting with people of the past, especially people of the past that you've had a great relationship with. Teddy was my boy, man. So it's great seeing you, and I'm glad to hear all the great things that's been going on. And I want to give a special shout out to Sam. Just for the fact that you looked out for my boy Teddy. I didn't even know Teddy was going through all of these different things. But for the fact that you was there when somebody needed you, that's a great thing. Appreciate you, Sam. And do you and Sam still talk to this day?
We haven't spoken in some years. I talked to his son on Facebook because his son was considered in the military. I don't know if he ended up going. I live Port St. Lucie now, so pretty far away, but I do want to make my way down to Broward County and do a little nostalgia tour or something like that. Go see Sam, maybe hang out with you guys again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely need to make my way down there. Don't
all
take
right,
anything
Sam.
for granted, but yeah, love you,
Hey,
Sam.
man, I know you see this broadcast. Hit us up.
Yeah.
Special shout out to little Joey too, who flaked and got you winning.
Yeah, man.
His big brother, I got to pick on him.
The little big brother.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we want to say again, thank you all for tuning in. BroTalkTV.com. Steve, anything else you wanna mention?
No, nothing else, man. But listen, Teddy, I know that you have more to share because we kind of did a little preliminary with you. At some point we probably want to invite you back because you really have a story that people can benefit from. So at some point we'll connect with you. But man, appreciate your time and the journey that you've went through to this date. I think is very inspirational to someone that might be going through some things as well. So appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Let's change the world. Let's give these guys a better shot than we have.
Absolutely,
definitely, man.
All
so
right,
y'all, everybody, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We are Bro Talk TV, and we are out.
We are out.
Peace.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Just to let him know that he's officially a bro.
Oh, yeah. It's already a bro.
I knew that going in.
Yeah. He was a bro off rip. 100%,
Make it
man.
official, man.
Yeah. Ted, man, listen, man. That's my boy, Teddy, man. 100% he's a bro.
All right.
All right, y'all. Y'all be
Take care,
safe.
everybody.